a potato and slaughtering a chicken or a cow is not the same thing. Slaughterhouses had glass walls. Most of us would be vegetarian. When there is nothing to eat, then you are justified to kill any animal and eat.
Why do you think, Swamiji, then traditionally we have been consuming less meat? But why sudden hype?
Human society became callous and we developed these mechanized slaughter. They load up cows and buffaloes for killing. They break their legs and stack them up like rice bags by nature's arrangement. All our bodily features match with herbivores, not carnivores.
Hi, welcome to KC Talks. In the series of podcasts on civilizational challenges that we are talking from Dr. Sahadeva Swami, he's been talking to us on various different issues of light pollution, illicit sex. But yesterday, while doing the podcast, I understood that meat industry is also a very, very big growing industry. And humans have not consumed meat as they are consuming now before. And he also used a very strong word that we have become 2-feet vultures, or we have become human vultures and not leaving food for scavengers. So let us understand what is meat eating and how meat eating, we'll understand about the meat eating industry also, but how meat eating has played a major role in the name of protein fad among humans, and how is it conducive or not very conducive for spiritual practices. Hare Krishna, Swamiji.
Hare Krishna.
So you used a very strong word. So we're eating meat so much that the scavengers don't have meat anymore.
Yes.
So and definitely there are multiple reasons, but first from you on a spiritual front, why meat eating is not considered good for spiritual progress?
Meat eating, first of all, it involves unnecessary violence. Jivo jivyasya jivanam. There is violence in any food we eat, in general. But there are some plants, even in some cases of vegetarian diet also there is violence where the plants dies. But many you pluck an apple, nothing happens to the tree. Basically, trees are like in a sedated condition. Nervous system is not so developed. So killing a potato and slaughtering a chicken or a cow is not the same thing. Cutting up a potato,
Okay.
So basically this unnecessary violence is not good for our consciousness. And that food also, that carries the pain, that carries the anguish, that carries the curse. So this is summarized in Sanskrit as tamasic food.
Okay.
So this will darken our understanding. This will block our understanding, not open our mind to higher realities. This will actually has a dulling effect on our brain.
Okay.
So that is why it is said that meat eaters will have problem understanding the higher intricacies of spiritual life.
Okay. So to understand this from what you have said, the nervous system of a plant is not as developed as an animal's nervous system.
Yes.
Because a lot of people now ask me this question, that if you are so cautious about suffering, then you should not be killing plants. So I just want to understand more about this topic of plant suffering towards animal suffering.
As I said, jivo jivasya jivanam, one living entity subsists on another.
Yes.
But the idea is to commit minimum violence. For example, you are driving through a place, let's say, and there are on a patch, there is a grass lawn is here, and there are 100 chickens. On where would you drive on?
It's a land, of course.
Lawn.
Lawn, yeah.
Because the grass, you may end up killing some grass. So the idea is to minimize the violence. So that is why I said cutting up a potato and cutting up a cow is not the same thing, you know. In many cases, there is no violence in case of plants, because when you grains, most of the grains as we harvest, by the time plants are dead, they have become yellow and dead.
Okay.
Many trees, fruits, you pluck, nothing happens to the tree.
Yes.
So there is a minimization of violence, and that too, patram pushpam phalam yad karosi yad asnasi yad ju. Our understanding, Vaishnava understanding, is even higher. Even that minimum violence we commit on behalf of God as an offering to God. So muchyante sarva kilvishay. Then we are not, there is no reaction to it, because the whatever violence we had to do, we first offer it to God, and as a remnant, as an offering, His mercy, Prashadam, we partake. So even that much reaction is removed.
Okay, so for people who say about plant killing, so you say that the violence on the plant is very minimal, and most of the cases there is no violence also. So definitely the suffering of probably a palak, a spinach, or probably any another, like a potato, tubers, is not very severe, right? Is it? It is just for our understanding.
Yeah,
or there is some suffering they go
it's
through.
like they are in an anesthetized
Situation. Yeah.
and they are like under anesthesia.
Okay.
Plants are under anesthesia, so surgery, definitely, you know, you can take children to a garden, you know.
Yeah.
Orchard, fruit orchard, you don't take children to a slaughterhouse.
Yes.
That will be a traumatic experience, you know. Animals crying, trying to run around, writhing in pain, you know.
Yes.
So there are pictures where school children were taken, and they are like scarred. They had to take them for counseling.
Oh.
And they came out crying and fainting, and so it's just that, and that is why it is said, if slaughterhouses had glass walls, most of us would be vegetarian.
Superb. Very well said. So, okay. So now the final understanding from spiritual standpoint is, in order to come out of the curse, anguish, and the suffering of an animal, it's not very good for a human spiritual growth. So we are avoiding meat in order to have a higher purpose of life. But what about the tribal societies?
Yes. Those who they suffer minimum reaction, because the consciousness or their technologies are not developed. They have no higher understanding that you can actually grow your food. So hunter-gatherer societies, they have very minimal reaction to animal killing, because that's the way they have no other way to survive. And also, mind you, there is something in our scriptures called apad dharma. Apad dharma means emergency situations.
Okay.
When there is nothing to eat, then you are justified to kill any animal and eat. When there is nothing to eat, because human form is considered intellectually superior.
Yes.
And meant to discharge a superior function.
Yes.
So in case you totally run out of food, then you are actually allowed to go for animal killing.
So
that is called emergency situation, apad dharma. But not in normal times.
Makes a lot of sense. You should judiciously take a call. Cautiously take a call. If there is nothing available, even as a Swamiji, you are forced to eat meat, then you would.
If it comes to that, when you are completely starving. Yes.
Definitely, yes.
So on hunter gatherer, I would say that there are. You see, that's a related point. I should add to that. You see, you require animal protein.
Oh, do we?
We require animal protein.
Okay.
And the civilized way of animal protein is through milk. See, milk and blood are the same, like almost the same things. But what happens is, there are domestic animals. You see, all traditional societies which had their animals. So, by nature's arrangement, lot of these animals could produce excess milk,
Okay.
which you can safely harvest.
Okay.
They can supply to the offspring,
Hmm.
and as well as human beings can. So that is a civilized way of taking animal protein.
From domesticated animals.
Domesticated animals. So if there have been cows, major part is cows, then there are buffaloes, there are also camel, horses, sheep. So they have been traditional, even donkeys.
Okay.
Therapeutic uses, donkey milk has got. So this is a civilized way of, without harming the animal,
Okay.
one can actually take.
No, I have definitely seen even in the northeast and hilly regions, they take yak milk.
Yes, yak milk
Yak
also.
cheese, that's the main source of this.
Yes.
So, why do you think, Swamiji, then traditionally we have been consuming less meat? But why sudden hype, sudden boom on this non-vegetarian market, meat market? Why did it boom so much in the last 2-3 decades?
Yes. Not this is a more than 100-year-old story. Chicago stockyards, evolution of mechanized slaughter. This has something to do with the industrial revolution, the prosperity. This has something to do with invention of refrigeration.
Okay.
So, and long distance transport. When the world was localized, you just can't afford to kill your animals. They are your lifeline. Because life was dependent on animals for drought purposes, for your milk purposes. Even today, traditional societies like Maasais, they don't just kill their cows.
Okay.
They protect them with their life. So the point is, the human society became callous, and the long distance travels developed, and we developed these systems of factory farming, mass production of animals, very cruel.
Yes.
And we developed these mechanized slaughtering.
Yeah.
So this international trade, long distance shipping of in a very horrific conditions, a ship containing 500,000 sheep, for example, wherein 10 to 20, 15% they perish in that heat without food and water, practically.
Too violent.
Yeah. So, and I see as when this whole evolution of meat trade, like these stockyards of America, and Hitler actually copied these technologies in these concentration camps.
Oh.
Hitler took the clue and idea and technologies from Chicago stockyards.
The gas chamber of
Chambers, mass slaughter of Jews.
Okay.
So I see that violence in human society as our evolved, the meat eating culture evolved, long distance animal trade, as we institutionalized and commercialized barbarity and cruelty,
Mm.
So I see that violence also similarly increased. We had world wars, we had gulag camps, we have genocides.
Mm.
In fact, the 20th last century was the bloodiest century in the history of human race.
Okay.
In terms of so many genocides, you just Google up genocides in 20th century.
Mhm.
So many Armenian genocides and everywhere, and 2 world wars, and how many millions and millions of people died. So I see that there is a parallel here. As we kill animals, we become callous, or there is something called karma, reaction. We also actually get killed like animals. So I see that there is a parallel here.
So you are telling that it is played a psychological role on the human society, as mass mechanization of killing animals have started. So that gave an idea to humans that you can also kill human beings like that, and people are carrying those impressions in
Well,
their
violence breeds violence.
mind.
When you are used to cutting throats of poor animals,
Mm-hmm.
then you won't mind cutting throat of a human being. All this, all said, all done, end of the day, there is not much difference.
Yeah.
We are also human animals. So somebody who is accustomed to cutting throats of animals, he won't mind. It's
So your concept of Chicago stockyards and all, it's most on the western side. But anyhow, globally, if you see, the meat consumption has always been on high. Now globally it is becoming less. But in India, where my personal experience in my childhood, where I have seen families eating meat once a month, some families, few times in a year, have come to few times in a week. Now this is, India is consuming its highest amount of meat today, which it has not done ever in the history.
You see, globally, most of the meat product consumption is increasing in all the third world.
Third
Entire
world.
third world, wherever prosperity is coming,
Mm-hmm.
and the meat and governments, Indian government had taken upon itself. India was the world's lowest, traditionally has been even today it has a per capita consumption is one of the lowest in the world today also.
Yes.
Per capita.
Yeah.
But government is going out of its way to ensure that Indians eat meat.
Okay.
So that's reason that it's best known to them, and it could be the meat lobby as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the meat production is subsidized. You can have slaughterhouses are subsidized.
Okay.
Meat training of slaughterhouse workers is subsidized. Meat export is heavily subsidized.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I think, more than 29 types of subsidies. As far as if you want to rear a cow, bring up a cow, there is no subsidy. You want to kill a cow or kill a goat, or there are huge subsidies.
Okay.
So this is, we call it as Kali Yuga governments.
Okay.
So our case of this India was the concept of compassion, the concept of friendliness. So yeah, we are catching up with the West very much, because that is it is just you're changing your taste. So it's addictive. When anything you do over a time becomes an addiction.
Okay.
So today we have this this facility of modernized. Government spent billions of dollars on modernizing slaughterhouses in India. Then they gave ads, Sunday hoya Monday roj khao ande. In our childhood we saw that,
Protein, to increase the protein content.
Protein content, as if milk has no protein. Elephant is starved of protein, or rhinos are starved of protein. So anyway,
there should be some logic, no, Swamiji, why they would have done that.
there is some logic because
Malnutrition in India was increasing at that
so
time.
malnutrition, it doesn't, you need milk for that. That is more than enough, and milk has a better digestibility. And meat, malnutrition, that is a, I tell you the economics of protein. Okay,
Okay.
when you kill a cow,
Hmm.
you may get 100 or 150 kilos of meat. Okay,
Yeah.
but the same cow can provide you 100,000 times protein if you're allowed to live and give milk.
Okay.
So there is economics.
Hmm.
Why kill? And there are plant proteins available in terms of pulses, in terms of soya. So many options are there.
Okay.
And same effort, you raise a pig
Hmm.
for a 1 kilo of pork,
Hmm.
you can get 50 to 100 kgs of grains or pulses.
Yes.
So plant meat, animal protein is a huge waste of resources.
Yes.
And that is why in ecology, in environment, you talk meat industry as killing the planet.
Definitely yes. Makes a lot of
So
sense.
that is why plant protein is very economical, very much. But there is money in meat.
Hmm.
There is money. First of all, understand, money is in death, disease, and destruction.
Okay.
So there is there will be pharma lobby, there will be meat lobby.
Hmm.
So governments are, whoever has got money, they are for them.
Hmm.
Wherever there is money, there will be for them.
Lobbies at one place, meat lobbying another place, government subsidies, policies, it's all going on. What about the consciousness of the people, psychology of this Indian society where their forefathers, I've known many first generation meat eaters among my friends. So what is this drift? This is all what you said is an economic level. But at a personal level, why?
You see, you are speaking of consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of vegetarian terrorist?
Maybe I.
No, generally it
We-
will be hard to find.
Is
this
it?
vegetarian terrorist.
No terrorist would be a vegetarian?
Well,
Very.
it will be hard to find.
Okay. It's a.
Generally, if you're driving in India,
Hmm.
just experiment that.
Hmm.
There are whole states which are predominantly vegetarian.
Yes.
A vegetarian area, and you drive through a neighborhood which is predominantly meat eating.
Hmm.
I won't name that community, but you can imagine that.
Yes.
And suppose you end up brushing your vehicle past somebody,
Okay.
or you put a dent in somebody's rickshaw. In both do
Hmm.
you think there'll be same reaction?
Maybe they'll be a little more violent.
Yes.
Hmm.
It is like you patting a cow,
Hmm.
or for that matter patting a deer,
Hmm.
or a herbivore is different
Hmm.
compared to patting a wolf or a hyena or a tiger or whatever.
Wow. So you got into the
It will be different.
the psychology of the
Yes.
entire psyche of a person who is a vegetarian or non-vegetarian is different.
Yes, generally.
But okay, so this is one way of looking at it. But there will be people who are vegetarian who can be very violent. Like Nathuram Godse was a vegetarian.
I'm
He
saying
killed Gandhi.
generally, you are what you eat.
Okay, but these are all very exceptions.
You are what you eat. That's a general rule.
Okay.
So always there will be a meat eater can be a very nice gentleman.
Yeah.
He eats meat,
Hmm.
and you can have a first class cook who is a vegetarian.
Yes.
So it is not, but generally speaking,
Hmm.
you are what you eat.
Okay.
Plant foods are innocent.
Hmm.
They don't. You see how the animals are bred. First of all,
Hmm.
then how the animals are transported,
Yeah.
then held in captivity,
Yes. Yes.
and then brutally slaughtered.
Hmm.
So all those pain hormones, all those negative, they get released in the blood. Those emotions and pains and hormones, And when you eat that food, you are actually ingesting in your personality all those negative reactions, chemicals and karmas,
So from a compassion standpoint also, humans should understand.
Yes.
And there is very less education in that actually. What I felt is like people, even so-called vegetarians, first generation vegetarians, if they are taken to a slaughterhouse, maybe their understanding would change a lot.
Yes.
Maybe they would turn vegetarian.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that now, because at least in the West, this or many places, veganism, because they are due to media, due to many organizations like PETA, and they are exposing these slaughterhouse operations. How they load up, for example, in India, they load up cows and buffaloes for killing. They break their legs and stack them up like rice bags, So anybody who has got little humanity left in him or her, he will think for this my little taste. After all, today you are eating only for taste. There is no necessity whatsoever to eat meat. It's all for taste buds. He will or she will see a face of a poor cow, buffalo, goat in that little piece of meat,
Yes. So there's some videos that went viral recently where small kids are urging their parents or elderly ones not to kill a sheep, not to kill a cow.
Because that's a natural consideration. When time for their festive slaughter comes, their children are trying to protect them.
Yeah.
So children we learn things. We are trained to be originally, naturally, we are supposed to be compassionate.
Yeah.
It's just that you give a child. So these things don't need training. You need that training to become cruel and heartless. You give a small baby a chicken and an apple. And see if he bites chicken and he plays with apple. No. He will bite the apple and he'll play with chicken.
Very nice. Okay.
He'll eat the apple and he'll play with chicken. That's a natural tendency.
So God-given innocence
Yes.
doesn't allow a child to commit such
Yes.
bad karma. As we grow up, we start cultivating all this,
Yes.
these wrong things. Very nice, Swamiji. So you spoke from a compassion standpoint, and we hope more and more people can understand the importance of vegetarianism. But one thing is, as in the modern day scenario, from a health point of view, there are many people who are turning vegetarians.
Yes.
Even in India, India maybe, the transition is only last 1, 2, 3 decades of meat consumption. But globally, there are so many articles, so much of work, and they are turning vegetarians. But certainly from a spirituality, compassion.
Yeah, your point I would add here that health point of view. Because by nature's arrangement, all our bodily features match with herbivores, not carnivores.
Okay.
Our structure of our teeth, our intestine length, how we perspire, our sweat gland, positioning of placement of our sweat glands, everything actually matches with herbivores. That is why people say, why it's natural, nature, everybody eats all animals. So why don't you pounce on like a tiger or a wolf, pounce on an animal and tear apart and eat? Why you need slaughterhouses? Why you need to cook the meat? So by nature's arrangement, we are herbivores.
Okay.
So it is healthy for us. Our intestinal lengths they have a far shorter length, so that they can excrete undigested part of
Yeah.
meat.
Yes.
But in our case, we have, 5 or 10 times longer intestines.
Hmm.
So meat will rot there, you know.
Yeah, it is a cause of, meat, at least red meat is a cause of colon cancer.
Yeah.
I was recently seeing an article in the West.
Yes.
And Indian sausages, processed meats.
Yes.
They're all
very loaded with pesticide, loaded with antibiotics and so many other chemicals, you know.
So definitely a lot of people would have spoken more on length, but from a category of monk, I really understand now that compassion is very important for human beings.
Right.
And a very good point that as an innocent child, God-given innocence, you can never appreciate, killing another animal. And one more important point is, as we are marine life and we are eating, the scale in which marine life is consumed is also at high. So maybe, humbly I appeal if you have missed this point. How does this life and these animals contribute to our existence? We are missing up this point.
Like in a boat, every nail matters.
Yes.
Okay, my boat has a hole on that other end of the boat, but I am fine here.
Yeah.
So life is interconnected. Every single, it's a complex ecosystem. It's a complex life of interdependence. God's system is very complete. Every tree in Amazon forests matter. Every tiny fish in Indian Ocean matters. Every seal, or every penguin in the North Pole, in the icy zones of North Pole matters. So, when you kill nature, we end up killing ourselves, because everything is interconnected. Life is a complex web. And we are depleting oceans of, marine vast killing is going on. India is now becoming a leading marine export. That has been our Prime Minister's actually has been the, great emphasis from Prime Minister himself to make India a leading marine export. That's why as soon as he assumed office, he gave this program called Blue Revolution.
Okay. The Blue Revolution is started during BJP?
Yes. That is the BJP's, this present government's initiative.
Okay.
So, we are actually, point is, nobody is stopping you. People have eaten fish. Fishermen have been traditional community.
Yeah.
Right. They are, for example, in northeast Orissa, Bengal, they are called Jalia,
Yeah.
They hunt, they catch fish. So, there is no problem. You want to eat, go catch some fish and eat. But to make it an industry, there have been thieves always. There have been robbers always. There have been murderers always. Fine. You cannot make robbing and thieving and murdering as a national industry.
At least a legitimate profession.
You cannot make it a national enterprise.
Yeah.
That is the problem. You want to eat fish, nobody is stopping you. Go ahead. Go catch reel in some fish. Fine. But to have 500,000 tons of these trawler or, big ship hunting and throwing away extra catch and killing, wiping life out of the oceans. This is criminal. This is crime against nature and God.
Yeah, definitely, yes, definitely.
So, before this Blue Revolution, were we starving?
This is all not for starving, Swamiji, maybe for economical progress.
So, what is that progress? You are still eating 2 chapatis now, and that time also not 200 chapatis anymore. They don't realize, okay, you earn 5,000 crores out of it, but one flood in a city will wipe out 100,000 crores. They are only seeing what they are getting out of. They don't see the reaction. You call it climate change, we call it karma change.
They're very myopic actually. We can't see that.
So how backdoor, how much is going away in terms of natural disasters?
Yeah.
And
Makes
how
sense.
it all this is affecting the climatic cycles, God has put those fish not for your you put get those big ships and export. That is not the purpose. They have been put for a purpose. That is how the water will remain clean, pure and usable and oxygenated, everything. And it is not, nobody is stopping you eat. But make it so human society has become the robbers, they have become murderers, they have become rapists, they are raping nature. This is a gang rape of nature is happening.
Yeah. Exploiting
in
nature.
terms of economic progress, where is the economic progress? For every rupee you will get, you will end up, once you destroy your nature's natural systems, you will end up losing 10 rupees or 100 rupees. That is why nobody becomes a billionaire, millionaire just by robbing banks. You can't become...
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you can't have
We're
university on how to rob banks.
Yeah. We're guarding it from the front, but from the bank, from the back of this kingdom,
this is nobody can become happier, prosper by this so-called these violent industries.
Definitely, from an ethical, moral, and conscious parameters, I can really sense. And anyhow, people are also as we are, humans are selfish. Now, as it is taking a toll on their health, so they are realizing this. But I want to add another point, as you said, karmic reaction, Swamiji. Almost 15 years back, I met a person in Delhi. His name is Dr. Bajaj. So I don't know whether his theory came out or not. He was doing, he's a scientist and, very well-known scientist. So he explained me a theory wherein wherever there is a lot of slaughter of animals, you get earthquakes there. And earthquakes and slaughter of animals have something in common. Or
you see, they wrote a thesis, 400-page paper on it.
Okay.
That how the Einsteinian pain waves, and they correlated it.
Yes.
And actually, whether you agree with this theory or not, you just statistically calculate the growth of meat consumption, and then you relate this to the frequency of earthquakes.
Oh.
I have come across this curve matches.
Okay.
The earthquakes are far more frequent now. You just Google, there are hundreds of why the earthquakes are more frequent now. They admit earthquakes are frequent. That is a proven fact statistically now. But why it is, I would say, even if that theory holds good or not, there is something called, in nature, you don't let others live in peace. Nature will not let you live in peace. You want mercy of God, then you got to learn to show mercy on others, to others. So human society has made for all other living beings the world a living hell. So nature will make your life also a living hell.
Makes a lot of sense, Swamiji. Very good insight on meat consumption, because many people will have many different ways of understanding, but on a compassion, on a spiritual growth, you give us a lot of information. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this, Swami.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.